Hello, everyone who made it till the end. So I'm from the company called Unstoppable Domains, and we are making the internet decentralized, right? So here's some plan of this talk. So we're gonna talk like how the internet can become decentralized with the blockchain technologies, right? First, review some pros and cons of the internet as it is. Then talk about decentralization with blockchain, then the problems with this, and the plans of Unstoppable Domains, how to make it all work. So what's good about the internet, right? If you read an article on Wikipedia, first thing it tells you that TCP/IP can survive a nuclear attack, right? Which is a good thing. It's like very stable technology that's pretty decentralized. Second thing, you can own your content, right? You can place any content in the web and you still own it, so you can modify it, it's accessible. It's dynamic, so anyone who visits a page, he sees something different right now, right? It's not 90s, so everyone sees its own content. And it's very easy to use compared to blockchain, at least. Decentralized future, right? We want to, for what things can be decentralized here? So first thing, very important, is to decentralize NID, your representation in the internet. Then minimize trust. You have to like be able to read your data from anywhere, and then make the technology accessible. What I mean by Internet ID, right, is the way you find stuff on the internet, which is basically like a domain name, or maybe you log into some website, right? So all of that is basically called Internet ID, or any kind of other login system like SSO. What can be decentralized? Basically everything, either Internet ID or the content itself, right? But there are two different categories that are decentralized differently. Can blockchain help with that? Obviously, yes. And it's like, if you think of it for a week, it's pretty easy and straightforward. You convert your Internet ID into NFT. You put your domain configuration to the blockchain too. And then you build some bridges to allow old software like browsers to work with it. Right? So you can implement something like this in one day. Okay, I have my ERC 721 standard, and then also some like set and get methods to set and get some configuration. And it's very easy to make it work. If you put something like we call Dns Gateway between the web browser and domain registry on the blockchain. So if the user puts the example.crypto in the browser, there's a request to find some record of this example.crypto. Then the gateway sends the request to the blockchain instead to find the necessary information. And then the request is being sent to the browser, which means that example.crypto is resolved to some IP address, right? Then we also can decentralize the storage, right? So whatever content you retrieve can now be put into decentralized network like IPFS. So you configure your domain name to put in some IPFS hash attached to it. Now it has IPFS website, right? And the gateway can work it out in the same way, so the browser can display the content. But in reality, all of that is pretty complex. Putting data on chain is expensive, right? Everyone knows high gas prices. Content storage motivation is not solved. I'll talk about this later. Dynamic content is not even a thing. So if you talk about decentralized websites, no one tells you that the content is static, so everyone sees the same content. But right now the internet is dynamic, so how we would deliver dynamic content to every single user in a decentralized way. And decentralized technologies are slow. There will be examples. Content storage problem, right? what's the motivation of the network to store your content, right? Ethereum has its own motivation, so whatever you put on chain stays there forever because you pay for your transaction. But can this model be applied to the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right, to the content? There is a way to motivate the network to store your content. There is a way to ask service provider for content storage confirmation that some content provider has your information stored, but there is no way to make sure the content service provider makes it accessible. It's like fastly accessible, good speed. It's like from every point of the world you can access the content. There's no way to motivate the network to make your content very accessible. Even though someone is motivated to store it, it's not very easy to access. Dynamic content, not even a thing. No one even tries to make the dynamic content to be delivered to your browser in a decentralized way. And then decentralized technologies are slow, right? So if you would compare typical browser requests to display you the website on the right to the decentralized equivalent to this, you may see that all the requests to decentralized technologies are way too slow, right? Even like Ethereum RPC 1 second is just too much. No one will wait to 1 second to resolve your domain name. It's just too long, right? Unstoppable domains philosophy, right? We want to make it all decentralized in the following way. First is undisputable ownership of your token. Second thing, get content from anywhere and then validate it on chain, which will make it faster, right? And step-by-step migration to decentralized technologies, making sure that on each step everything is accessible to a very low education person, right? What we mean by indisputable ownership of your ID, we use pure ERC 721, no subscription fees, no administrative zones, like no administrators, right? If you buy a domain name from us, it's like only you that own it, right? No one can like raise the subscription fee to super high value and just take back your domain name because you can't pay it, right? Not gonna happen. Step-by-step decentralization, right? So we want to make sure that we go there gradually. First, domain names as an NFT, then cheap gas, right? Obviously, if you can't do much with your domain name, if it's too expensive, you will not be able to do anything. Then integrate with browsers. Then anyone can get a domain for free. This is our key point, right? We want every single user or every single person on the planet to get the domain for free, which is not currently a thing because of high gas prices, but we are working towards that. And then traditional websites on decentralized domains, right? Then static decentralized websites, and in the end, use domain name as a login ID. So what do we mean by accessibility of the decentralized internet, right? Cheap to configure. The gas prices should be acceptable. Performance is acceptable, right? So the domain name resolves in the browser, at least not much slower than traditional domain name. And then minimize blockchain knowledge. Right now, you just need to know a lot of things to work with your domain name. We need to fix that. Thanks. That's everything.
Maybe we can take one short question, if there is any. Yeah.
Hello. So I see that you adding more and more first-level domain names, right? Like .crypto and then .zil and X, right? So imagine other people creating domain name system on other blockchains, like, I don't know, Near, Solana, etc., and they also want to use some first-level domain names, not taken by Web2, not taken, but maybe taken, or you are planning to take this first-level domain. So what are you thinking about this?
Is it about conflicts, right?
Yes. Conflicts of first-level domain names.
Our business team is working really hard to avoid that. So if we see there is a conflict, we immediately contact and try to resolve at human level. So like, please do not make a conflict. Please let's be more honest to each other. And this is currently the only way of doing that. We would be happy to do it other way, but currently that's the only way, and it's working.
Yeah, but from the other side, yeah, understand. Thank you for answer. And from the other side, just look at Coin Market Cap, for example, or CoinGecko, and there are tons of similar tickers for crypto, for example, right? So there is no global registry like on, I don't know, like on Nasdaq or something like that. So projects can take similar names, totally similar. And nobody restricts from this. And with domain names, also I can imagine teams that say like, yeah, we also like .crypto, we will take it. So what will happen?
Yeah. Can you tell me in person? I don't hear you with your microphone. So the question is, what if like other company will try to issue same domain names with the same space? All traditional domain names are controlled by the organization called ICANN. And this organization is not, it's like very bureaucratic, very old, right? And this organization can go at war with unstoppable domains if they want to. And if they will want the war will be unavoidable. So it will be a war. And as far as right now, there is no like real threat to this, because people are not that like crazy about it.
Thank you. Yeah, and you were the last one, so
yeah, if you have any
good
questions,
applause.
come to me in person.